Well, hello. We're gonna do something a little different today, and I hope you guys enjoy. It's basically something I would call story time, and essentially it is what it's gonna sound like, and it's me talking about one of my run-ins with police. Now, I don't care if you're pro-cop, anti-cop. That's not what we're not debating today. So quit jerking yourself off. Today we're gonna jerk me off, and if you want to listen, I'll go ahead and blow my load for you. And it's one of my experiences back in a hometown of mine, place that, well, lacks understanding because it is not a great place to live. That's why I no longer live in that town in Missouri. For people that know me, it's not a great place, and I honestly just could not stand it. The cops, primarily. Now, this is not advocating for people to go harass that police station. That's why I'm going to kind of at least not say it out loud who it is. Now, if you know me, then you know probably what I'm talking about. This is one of the incidences where an incident that I ran into that actually was one of the few times, or the only time I've ever actually had to write a report. I had to file a report to save a buddy's skin. Long story short on some of the details that is not needed. A lot of lies and slanderous things led up to the night that I was detained. And actually a lot of hilarity ensued. And stupid things on my behalf, considering I thought it was okay to beat my chest at somebody bigger than me. Now, outside the fact that I may or may not have been able to get my ass kicked at that point, let me go ahead and start you off with, yes, I would have got my ass kicked, 100%. There was too many of them, and they were big. So a fresh, young 18-year-old by myself decided to back up a guy who was slightly in the wrong, but not for what they said he was in the wrong for. While he didn't do anything abruptly or any type of assault in any way, he did, in fact, say something rude to a rather younger person. Now, the reason why the demographic was so different by age gap is because of, well, the quality of people we hung out with. While I was 18, a buddy was 17, his buddy was 16, other buddy was, it went from 15 to 20. Now, that roughly was about it, and the guy was 24 that I hung out with. He was just somebody that my family knew, and he was pretty trustworthy for the most part. But yes, the police had to get involved. Now, if anybody knows what little crack towns are like, well, I was going to the discount store. Pretty much anybody that lives in places like that know what a discount store is. I was getting discount tobacco. You get discount alcohol too, but unfortunately I didn't get to drink that night, and I should have. I definitely needed it. So we're walking away from the store, and as we walk in any town like this, you always have to keep one eye open and always kind of watch your back. Now, while it isn't as frequent as other bad towns, it still was a kind of problem. You could still get hurt just from going down the road. It was late at night, the street lights were on, and I'm trying to head home. It's time for this boy to tucker down for the night. I see a shady vehicle pull out in front of us, or no, it was behind us, and as we're walking, this car comes from behind us, goes around, and starts going towards my house. Well, the problem is, that's not a familiar vehicle. Anybody that lives in a lot of towns where it's not frequently, 100 vehicles all the time, you pretty much can count on at 1 to 2 hands how many vehicles come through that road. You pretty much understand who goes where. It's pretty much just a schedule. Well, this was unscheduled and uncalled for, so I was like, yeah, that's not good. If they're coming to my house, they're probably up to no good. The party was over. That's another thing. The cops frequent my house because of parties, noise complaints, fights, and alcohol, and other said stuff. Well, here's the fun part. They pull up, slam on their brakes, and jump out. Said guy decides to run. Well, I'm not fat at that point. I could still get a little go in my go-go juice. And I picked up knees to chest and hauled ass. I get up in front of what's unfortunately the biggest guy amongst them, not because I'm brave, but rather I was stupid. Stupid me decides to talk to this man as if he was a child. And then he gets mad and says, "Are you calling my niece a liar?" I went, yeah, if that's what you want to say. And the whole time I'm not even thinking, please don't hurt me. He says, well, these guys got something to say about it too. He decides to bring underage people to a fight with an adult so he could basically, claim it with law so he couldn't go to jail. All these big linebacker side, probably 250-pound kids come got out of this tiny ass vehicle. It was like a clown car. The unfortunate part is I am not a tall fellow. I am right under 5'10", and at the time I weighed about roughly 185 pounds. Slightly under the weight of these ginormous meat-eating teenagers and whatever accounts for the man. So these giant gorillas decide to tell me that they're going to whoop the shit out of my friend. I'm like, yeah, not on my stop, buddy. And I start getting ready for this obvious ass whooping I'm about to take by multiple people, confusing as all could get out. To which, finally I tell him, hey, don't worry about them. You call the cops. I said, oh, that just gives us a time limit on when we can whoop his ass. I went, the police are 2 blocks down the road. They'll be here before you swing anything. To which finally the cops do come up, and apparently he had a lot more talk in him than he even previously thought. So here's the whole reason why I'm kind of about the fuck the police type of person. They come up and they're like, okay, what's the problem? Everybody needs to calm the hell down. And I'm like, yeah, they're on my property, homeboy. I think we got a problem. Yeah, that's not where the fun stops. They decided to cuff me. Not the guys starting the shit and coming over to my house to put a guy in a white chalk outline. No, me. They want to detain me and my underage friend next to me. So he gets in handcuffs. I get in handcuffs. We're detained at this point. And the violent people that are aggressive are the ones just free to roam. Like they're not about to just start stomping on us, even if the cops are there. Because the way they were talking, the cops weren't going to stop them. They were going to have to pull them off of them. And I put myself into this predicament. It is 100% my fault. But the cops are still assholes. So they start taking their statement. And I'm like, dude, this doesn't make sense. Why aren't we getting questioned? And I'm being told to be quiet. Well, the neighbor, who is also my buddy's mom, decides to come over, says, hey, my son is underage. He's coming with me. They're like, yes, ma'am. I guess we can't do nothing about him. They take him away. And I apologized to her, to which she said, I understand you probably are not really involved in this. I said, I try not to be. Well, the female cop who did detain me and has been a complete asshole this whole time, I was like, ma'am, is there any point y'all going to take a statement from me? Because these guys are just straight up lying. She said, no, and the only right you have right now is to shut the fuck up. I am absolutely dumbfounded. This lady just looked me straight in the face and cussed at me. I've been nothing but cordial with these people, and then now they got to tell me while detained, I need to shut up while they're over here threatening to kick my ass? Yeah, I wasn't too happy about that. Now, normally I would pop off at the mouth, but I decided to be a little logical here. I'm not going to jail yet, not that I know of. They have no charges on me. I just need to be quiet. To which I hear a faint, drunken, stupid voice come out and go, you're going to leave my boy alone. He's not going to jail, you mother, and just going off. Yes, they woke Mama Bear, who is a raging alcoholic when it comes to police. Like I said, there was a party, and there's frequent parties. Well, she come out thinking anytime there's handcuffs, people go to jail. That's pretty much the routine at that house. Well, she come out stumbling, considering she only had one functioning leg anyway, and her husband pretty much trying to keep her back. First off, he's bigger than her. I know he could take her. I don't know why she made it out to begin with. He should have came outside and tried to figure out the situation. Not to say he's of sound mind either. He's pretty crazy himself. It's a match made in hell, you would say. So basically, she storms up, you let him go, you pieces of shit, pigs, blah, 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 blah. I turn around, like, Ma, could you shut up and go inside? She looked at me, they're not taking you to jail. I went, no shit, Sherlock. I'm just detained for apparently the big sons of bitches' safety. So yeah, basically I was detained to save the, 5 giant dudes. So finally, the guy who was also in question, still not detained by the way, that was going to get hurt, is talking to my mom, trying to tell her to just shut the fuck up for a minute because everything will be fine. Give it 5 minutes. And I wish that's where it ended, but unfortunately, once they actually took the handcuffs off, left, I gave them a very lengthy, time-consuming statement because they tried to tell me, hey, you will have to come back to court. Why would I have to come to court? Well, if this goes to court, you'd have to, make a statement out publicly. I was like, what if I just put the statement to you guys? So now this is 10 years later now, so obviously nothing happened, but yeah, I gave them a lengthy statement. I gave them quite literally street names, times, dates, and everything. Because at the time, I always kept up with my times and dates because I always wanted to make sure I wasn't late to going to play basketball, swimming at the pool, or meeting up with some friends at the ballpark that worked there so I could just hang out and talk to them all day. It was a lot simpler time, so it made it easier. But yeah, that's pretty much my first run-in, or one of my run-ins with police. They're assholes, and that's not the only time I had run-ins with those same cops, with the same crew, and the same town. So, yeah. If you like this, please let me know. Definitely like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about me. I will be definitely keeping up with my daily uploads as often as I can, if I can free it up. And I also have more stories with more cops, more police, different towns, different states. So if you'd like to hear it, please let me know. I definitely would like to let you know. And there's some funnier stories. This one's just more of a laid back, one time deal where the cops had me actually detained. But that's all I got to say about that today. Y'all have a good one.